The large screen in the command center showed a strange ship entering the solar system. Commander John Hayes leaned forward in his chair, his eyes fixed on the unknown vessel. It was unlike anything humans had built, sleek, with odd angles that seemed to bend light around it. "What are we looking at?" John asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Unknown design, sir," replied Lieutenant Kate Porter from her station. "It's broadcasting some kind of signal." The room fell silent as a strange series of tones filled the command center. After a few seconds, the tones changed to a voice speaking in accented English. "People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Concordat. We come in peace and friendship. Please respond." Admiral Susan Miller walked into the command center, her face showing no emotion. She had been in space warfare for 20 years, and something about this didn't feel right. "Open a channel," she ordered, "but keep all defense systems ready." John nodded to Kate, who established communication. "This is Earth Defense Command. We welcome peaceful contact. Please state your intentions." The alien ship sent visual data next. On the screen appeared a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and large, unblinking eyes. "I am Xorlath of the Vexeri species, senior diplomat of the Galactic Concordat. We wish to welcome humanity to the galactic community." 2 days later, the United Nations Great Hall was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth. The alien delegation sat across from them. Susan watched from the side, noticing how the aliens seemed surprised by the number of different governments on one planet. Xorlath spread his 4 arms wide. "We offer you protection, knowledge, and a place in our peaceful union of worlds. All we ask is that you sign our standard friendship treaty." Bill Carter, a junior analyst who had been studying the treaty all night, passed a note to Susan. She read it quickly, her face darkening. "Admiral," Bill whispered, "the translation is correct, but what they call mutual protection in Section 12 actually means we give up our military. And cultural exchange means they can take any resources they want." Susan passed the information to the UN Secretary General, who frowned deeply. "Ambassador Xorlath," the Secretary General said, "we have concerns about several points in this treaty. It appears we would be surrendering our independence." The alien blinked his large eyes slowly. "All new species must be guided. It is for your protection. The galaxy is dangerous. So you're not offering friendship between equals?" Susan asked directly. Xorlath turned his gaze to her. "Equality must be earned. Your species is young, primitive. You need our guidance." Kate Porter, who had been assigned as diplomatic liaison, stepped forward. "Ambassador, we've noticed that the treaty uses words like protection and guidance, but the actual terms would make Earth essentially a servant world. We cannot accept these terms." The aliens whispered among themselves, clearly not expecting resistance. "This is standard procedure," Xorlath said, his voice cooler now. "All species at your development level sign this treaty." "Perhaps they didn't read it carefully," Susan suggested, her arms crossed. The room grew tense as the Earth's leaders conferred. After 30 minutes of discussion, the Secretary General returned to his seat. "The nations of Earth have reached a unanimous decision," he announced. "We respectfully decline your treaty. We are open to true friendship, but we will not surrender our sovereignty." The alien delegation seemed stunned. Xorlath's blue skin darkened slightly. "This is unprecedented," he said. "The Concordat does not negotiate these terms." "Then we have nothing more to discuss," the Secretary General replied firmly. Xorlath rose from his seat. "You do not understand what you are doing. The Galaxy Council will be informed of your decision. I suggest you reconsider before they respond." As the aliens departed, John turned to Susan. "Did we just make an enemy of the entire galaxy?" Susan watched the alien ship leave Earth orbit on the tracking screen. "No, I think we just stood up for ourselves. And based on their reaction, not many species do that." "What happens now?" Kate asked. Susan's face was grim but determined. Now we prepare. I don't think they're going to take no for an answer. 6 months passed since the aliens left. Earth had changed. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. The threat from space united humanity like nothing before. Director Alan Foster stood in the large underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around him, engineers and soldiers worked on new weapons and ships. This was the headquarters of the newly formed Global Defense Initiative, or GDI. How are the new ships coming along? Alan asked the chief engineer. The Defiance will be ready in 3 weeks, the man replied. Resistance and Resolve need another month. Alan nodded. These would be Earth's first true warships. He walked to another section where Dr. Lily Winters was studying alien technology. Any breakthroughs? He asked. Lily looked up from her work. Her eyes were tired but excited. We've figured out how their shields work. The aliens use a different kind of physics than we do, but it's not magic. We can copy it. How long until we can put shields on our ships? 2 months, maybe less, she answered. Alan patted her shoulder. Good work. Keep at it. In another part of the facility, Frank Rodriguez led the intelligence division. His job was to gather information about the aliens. His team had built small, fast scout ships that could jump to nearby star systems using the technology they learned from studying the alien ships' communication signals. Sir, our scouts found something, a young agent reported, handing Frank a datapad. Frank read the report, his face growing serious. They've labeled us uncooperative species #7294. Not very creative. There's more, sir. They consider us especially dangerous because we said no. Most species apparently just accept their terms. Frank rubbed his chin. That's useful to know. They're not used to resistance. Meanwhile, on Mars, the colonies were changing. What once were science stations and small settlements were now being turned into fortresses. Major Carol Wu oversaw the training of Special Forces soldiers. The aliens are stronger than us, she told her troops as they exercised in Mars' low gravity. But we're more creative. They've been the big dogs of the galaxy for too long. They don't expect surprises. In orbit around Jupiter, engineers disguised weapon platforms as research stations. Throughout the asteroid belt, Lieutenant George Daniels and his team planted mines that could destroy ships passing through. They'll expect us to defend Earth, George told his team. They won't expect us to defend the whole solar system. Back on Earth, Admiral Susan Miller met with world leaders in the GDI council room. The aliens will return, she said simply. And they'll bring more ships next time. We need to be ready. Can we win a war against an entire galaxy? Asked the president of the African Union. Susan didn't sugarcoat her answer. Not in a traditional war, no. But we don't need to defeat the entire Concordat. We just need to make it too costly for them to defeat us. Around the solar system, humanity prepared. Factory workers who once made cars now built spacecraft parts. Computer programmers wrote battle software. Farmers grew extra food for storage in underground bunkers. In space, the early warning system took shape. Small sensor stations were placed far beyond Pluto, ready to detect any approaching ships. One evening, Alan stood with Susan at the viewing window of the GDI space station. Earth glowed blue and green below them. Do you think we're doing the right thing? Alan asked. Maybe we should have just accepted their terms. Susan shook her head. And become slaves. No, humans don't do well with masters. But we might lose everything. Or we might show the galaxy something new, Susan replied. That freedom is worth fighting for. The alarm sounded before Alan could answer. A junior officer rushed to them. Admiral, Director, the young man said, his voice shaking. The outer sensors have detected ships. Many ships. They're coming back. Susan straightened her uniform. How long do we have? At their current speed, 7 days until they reach Earth orbit. Then we have a week to finish our preparations, Susan said. Send the alert to all GDI facilities. Operation Shadow Shield begins now." Alen looked once more at the Earth below. And so it begins. The alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system like stars suddenly blinking into existence. 30 large ships, much bigger than the single vessel that had visited Earth before. In the GDI command center, Admiral Susan Miller watched the fleet on the large screen. "They're holding position just beyond Neptune," she said. A message came through on all Earth channels. The face of a new alien appeared, taller than Torlath with darker blue skin and ornate markings on his face. "People of Earth, I am Grand Emissary Zrelkath of the Galactic Concordat. Your rejection of our generous offer has been noted as an act of extreme disrespect. The Galaxy Council has authorized me to give you one final chance to accept our terms." General Patricia Howard, leader of the GDI War Council, stood beside Susan. "They're giving us another chance. That means they're not sure about fighting us." The alien continued. "You have one Earth week to reconsider. The terms are now stricter due to your previous refusal. You will surrender all military capabilities and accept Concordat governors in all major cities. If you refuse again, we will begin pacification procedures." The transmission ended. The room was silent for a moment. "Pacification," Susan repeated. "Nice way to say they'll attack us." Patricia nodded grimly. "Activate Operation Shadow Shield." Throughout the solar system, humanity's preparations accelerated. Civilian ships evacuated people from space stations to underground bunkers on Earth, Mars, and the moons of Jupiter. Military vessels moved into hidden positions. Lieutenant George Daniels and his team finished placing the last of the nuclear mines in the asteroid belt. "All mines are armed and ready," he reported through his radio. On Earth, government leaders met with the GDI Council. "We should appear to be considering their terms," suggested the Prime Minister of India. "It will buy us more time." Susan agreed. "We'll send a message saying we need the full week to discuss their offer." The aliens took the bait. "Your request is granted," replied Zrelkath. "To assist in your deliberations, I will send a diplomatic escort to observe your discussions and answer questions." A single alien ship broke from the main fleet and headed toward Earth. This was exactly what GDI had hoped for. "They're overconfident," Frank Rodriguez said as he monitored the approaching vessel. "They think we're just scared primitives." The alien diplomatic ship entered Earth orbit 3 days later. It was immediately surrounded by Earth defense ships that appeared to be escorting it honorably. The aliens didn't realize these ships carried special boarding teams. Captain Ryan Johnson led the operation from the newly completed battleship Defiance, hidden on the far side of the moon. "Begin Operation Trojan," he ordered. The Earth escort ships suddenly locked magnetic grapples onto the alien vessel. Before the aliens could react, Major Carol Wu and her Special Forces team cut through the hull and stormed inside. The fight was short. The aliens, surprised by the attack, surrendered quickly. "Ship secured," Carol reported. "Minimal damage to systems. We have prisoners and intact technology." Susan received the news with satisfaction. Now we wait for their reaction. They didn't wait long. The Concordat fleet detected the capture of their diplomatic vessel and immediately began moving toward Earth. "They've taken the bait," Patricia said. "All ships to combat positions." Throughout the solar system, hidden human vessels powered up their engines. The defense grid activated, with weapons platforms revealing themselves from their disguises as research stations. In the command center, Alan Foster joined Susan and Patricia. "This is it," he said. "Everything we've planned for." Susan nodded. "Send a message to all GDI forces. The Concordat is coming to force us to surrender. They expect to find a primitive species willing to bow down before their superior technology. Instead, they'll find humanity, united and ready to fight." The alien fleet accelerated toward Earth, unaware they were heading into a trap. As they approached the asteroid belt, George Daniels waited for the signal. "On my mark." Patricia said, watching the alien ships enter the kill zone. 3, 2, 1, mark. George pressed the button. Throughout the asteroid belt, nuclear mines activated. The first battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin. The space around the asteroid belt lit up with dozens of nuclear explosions. The Concordat ships had not expected such primitive weapons. Their shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not the physical force of nuclear blasts. 3 enemy ships destroyed, reported the sensor officer in the GDI command center. The rest are changing formation. Captain Ryan Johnson watched from the bridge of the Defiance as the alien fleet scattered to avoid the mines. "They're confused," he said to his crew. "They didn't expect us to fight back this well." All ships. Attack pattern Delta. The human fleet emerged from hiding places behind moons and asteroids. 25 ships, led by the Defiance, Resistance, and Resolve, moved to engage the much larger alien vessels. On the Concordat command ship, Grand Emissary Zrelkav could not believe what he was seeing. "Impossible," he said. "How did these primitives build ships so quickly? How did they know to make shields?" "They captured our diplomatic vessel intact," his second-in-command reminded him. "They must have learned from it." "Destroy them all," Zrelkav ordered. "No mercy for such treachery." The Concordat ships fired energy beams that sliced through space. Some human ships were hit, their newly made shields holding for a few seconds before failing. But the human vessels were smaller and faster, darting between the large alien ships. "They're using standard attack formations," Ryan noted as he watched the battle unfold. "No creativity." He turned to his weapons officer. "Fire missiles at target points we discussed." The Defiance launched a spread of missiles, not at the alien ships' main hulls, but at their engine sections. The other human ships followed suit. The aliens had expected attacks on their command centers, not their engines. "Direct hit on enemy flagships' engines," the weapons officer called out. "Their speed is dropping." Ryan smiled. "Now for the next surprise. Lieutenant Olivia Green, take your boarding team." Olivia and her team of 20 soldiers launched from the Defiance in a special craft designed to attach to alien hulls. They headed for the damaged Concordat cruiser. "Their shields are down around the engine section," Olivia reported as her craft approached the massive alien ship. "We're going in." Using cutting tools based on technology from the captured diplomatic vessel, Olivia's team cut through the hull and entered the Concordat cruiser. The aliens inside were tall and strong, but unprepared for close combat. Humans, with thousands of years of fighting each other, had developed many ways to fight at close range. "Ship secured," Olivia reported 30 minutes later. "We have control of their computer systems. Downloading all data now." Throughout the battle, more human ships appeared, launching from hidden bases on Mars and Jupiter's moons. The Concordat fleet, expecting an easy victory, found themselves surrounded. 10 enemy ships destroyed, reported the sensor officer to Admiral Susan Miller. "We've lost 7 of ours." Susan nodded grimly. The losses hurt, but they were doing better than expected against the supposedly superior alien force. "The remaining alien ships are retreating," Patricia Howard announced. "They're pulling back past Neptune." The human forces did not pursue. They had achieved their goal, showing the Concordat that humans would not be easy to conquer. Ryan brought the Defiance back to Earth orbit, where Olivia's team had delivered the captured Concordat cruiser. "I've never seen anything like it," Dr. Lily Winters said as she began examining the alien ship. "Their technology is advanced, but not magic. We can learn from this." In the GDI council room, Susan addressed the world leaders. "We won today, but this was just the beginning. The Concordat will be back with more ships." "But we've shown them we can fight," Alan Foster said. "And every day we have with this captured technology makes us stronger." Frank Rodriguez entered with a datapad. "We've translated some of their communications. News is spreading through the galaxy that humans defeated a Concordat fleet. Some other species are watching us with interest." Susan looked at the images of the retreating alien ships. Then let's give them something worth watching. 6 months after Earth's victory, the galaxy was buzzing with news about the humans. On the Concordat capital world, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. Representatives from 20 powerful species gathered to discuss what they called the human problem. These humans must be crushed completely, demanded the Vexari representative, his blue skin flushed dark with anger. They have humiliated the Concordat. Other species are watching. Some are even questioning our authority. The council chamber was large and grand, with tall windows showing the gleaming city outside. At the center, Zrelkaf stood to give his report on the battle. Humans use surprising tactics, he admitted. They do not follow standard combat procedures. They attacked our engines instead of command centers. They used primitive nuclear weapons in clever ways, and they learned very quickly. While the council debated, another species was making a different move. The Turillian, an ancient race who had long been rivals of the Vexari, secretly sent a small ship to the edge of the Sol system. "We've detected an unknown vessel," reported a sensor operator at the GDI command center. "But it's not Concordat design." Admiral Susan Miller studied the readings. "They're broadcasting on an open frequency. They want to talk." The message from the Turillian ship was simple. "We wish to speak with humans. We are not friends of the Concordat." After careful scanning to ensure the ship carried no weapons, Susan allowed a meeting. The Turillian were tall and thin with pale skin and six-fingered hands. Their representative, Kelinar, spoke directly. "The Vexari and their Concordat have dominated the galaxy too long," he said. "Many species watch your resistance with hope. We offer a trade. Some of our technology for some of your battle tactics." Captain Eric Nelson was chosen to lead Earth's first diplomatic mission beyond the solar system. His ship, the Envoy, was small and fast, built with stealth technology reverse-engineered from the captured Concordat vessels. "Be careful," Susan told him before he left. "Trust the Turillian, but not completely." As Earth built new alliances, Commander Samantha Fisher established the Xenointelligence Corps to study alien psychology and tactics. "The Concordat has ruled for thousands of years," she explained to her new recruits. "They expect obedience. When we said no, we confused them. When we fought back and won, we shocked them. We need to understand how they think so we can keep surprising them." Several small battles happened in nearby star systems as Concordat scout ships tried to locate human vessels. Each time, the human ships used hit-and-run tactics, striking quickly and then disappearing. Meanwhile, a species called the Skiteri, known for their trading skills, began secretly meeting with human representatives. They brought advanced technology to trade for things only Earth had: rare minerals, human art, and music. "Your species creates beautiful things," the Skiteri trader told Alan Foster as they exchanged goods. "The Concordat calls humans violent savages, but we see differently." Throughout the galaxy, information about humans began to spread. Some of it was Concordat propaganda showing humans as dangerous animals, but underground networks shared the truth that humans had stood up to the mighty Concordat and won. Several middle-level galactic powers began quiet talks among themselves. The Archean Republic, the Nelvari Collective, and the Free Hegemony all had suffered under Concordat rule. Now they sought a chance for change. As humanity prepared for the next attack, they also looked beyond their solar system. Using the faster-than-light drive technology from the captured ships, Earth established its first off-world colony. Hidden in a dense nebula 40 light-years from Sol, the colony was named Nova Haven. "This is our insurance," Susan explained to world leaders as they watched the first colonists depart. "If Earth falls, humanity will continue." In her private office, Susan looked at the star map showing known Concordat positions. Their main invasion fleet was still gathering, but getting larger every day. Soon, they would come with hundreds of ships. "We've surprised them once," she said to Alan. "Now we need a plan to surprise them again." 2 years had passed since humans first met the aliens. Earth had grown stronger, but so had their enemies. The Concordat was building a massive invasion fleet. 500 ships gathered at their main base, preparing to crush the troublesome humans once and for all. GDI intelligence officer Nickel Harper had agents throughout nearby star systems. Some were humans in disguise. Others were aliens who disliked the Concordat. Through this network, she learned about the invasion plans. They'll be ready to attack in 3 months, Nickel reported to Admiral Susan Miller and General Patricia Howard. 500 ships. We can't fight that many. Susan and Patricia looked at the star map showing the Concordat fleet positions. Then we don't let them come to us, Patricia said. We hit them first. They called the plan Operation Stardust. Instead of waiting for the attack, humans would strike first at Concordat supply lines and shipyards. Captain Kevin Ross was chosen to lead the mission. He had proven himself smart and brave in previous battles. His flotilla included 60 ships, the best Earth had built. Your job is not to defeat their main fleet, Susan told him. Just slow them down and damage their support systems. Hit and run. Earth now had a new weapon. Dr. Lily Winters called it the Cascade Disruptor. It turned an enemy ship's shields against itself, using the shield's own energy to create feedback loops that damaged the ship. It won't work on their biggest ships, Lily explained, but it will confuse them. They've never seen anything like it. The Taurillian provided crucial help. They knew the Concordat patrol schedules and defensive systems. Their shipyards at Orion's Veil are least protected, the Taurillian ambassador told Kevin. They never expect attacks there. As Kevin's fleet prepared for their mission, a small team led by Major Peter Young had another task. They would infiltrate the Concordat Central Command on Vexor Prime. This is the most dangerous mission we've attempted, Peter told his team of 12 Special Forces soldiers. We need to upload this virus into their defense network. He held up a small data device. It will scramble their automated defenses for 48 hours. Peter's team used a stolen Concordat shuttle to approach Vexor Prime. They wore stolen uniforms and carried false identification. The Concordat, arrogant in their power, had poor security. No one had ever dared attack their homeworld before. The team moved through the massive command center, pretending to be maintenance workers. When they reached the central computer room, they quickly overcame the guards. Uploading virus now, Peter's tech specialist said, connecting the device to the alien computer. Success. We have 48 hours before they can fix it. The signal went out to Kevin's fleet. Stardust is go. Kevin's ships jumped into hyperspace, heading for the Concordat shipyards. When they arrived at Orion's Veil, the Concordat ships were confused. Their automated defense systems were not working properly. Alarms did not sound. Weapons did not target correctly. All ships, attack pattern Omega, Kevin ordered. His fleet split into 12 groups, each targeting different parts of the shipyard. The battle was one-sided. With their defenses crippled, the Concordat ships were easy targets. The human fleet destroyed 200 ships still under construction in the shipyards. Mission complete, Kevin reported. Minimal losses. Returning to Sol system. When the Concordat finally got their systems working again, they were shocked by the damage. No one had ever attacked them so boldly. As Kevin's fleet returned home, Susan prepared a message to be broadcast on all frequencies the Concordat used. Attention Galactic Concordat, she said clearly. You came to Earth demanding our surrender. You returned with a fleet to force our compliance. Now you know we can strike at the heart of your empire. We offer you a choice. Peace between equals, or no peace at all. The decision is yours. Throughout the galaxy, other species watched and listened. Many had suffered under Concordat rule for centuries. Now they saw something new. Hope that the mighty Concordat could be challenged. The humans have changed everything, the Taurillian ambassador said to his government. The age of Concordat dominance may be ending. The success of Operation Stardust changed everything. News spread quickly through the galaxy. Species that had suffered under Concordat rule for centuries began to question why they obeyed. Some worlds openly rebelled. Commander Lisa Morgan had been working with alien representatives for months. Now she called a meeting on Earth's neutral space station. Representatives from the Archean Republic, the Nelvari Collective, and the Free Hegemony arrived secretly. For too long, the Concordat has ruled through fear, Lisa told them. They call it peace, but it's control. We offer true alliance, each species equal, each world free. The aliens were cautious but hopeful. The Concordat has ruled for 10,000 years, said the Archean representative, a reptilian being with golden scales. You humans have fought them for only 2. Why should we believe you can win? Lisa showed them videos of Earth's battles and the success of Operation Stardust. Because we think differently. The Concordat expects obedience. We question everything. That's our strength. After 3 days of talks, the Coalition of Free Worlds was born. 12 species signed the agreement, pledging to help each other against the Concordat. Earth was not the largest or most advanced world in the Coalition, but it was the heart of the resistance. The Concordat reacted with fury. They now faced rebellion on multiple fronts. Their grip on the outer territories began to slip. General Vincent Torres led the first joint human-alien military operation. His mission was to free the Procyon system, where the Nelvari homeworld had been under Concordat control for 8 centuries. Remember, we fight alongside our allies today, Vincent told his troops before the battle. Show them that humans keep their promises. The battle for Procyon was fierce. The Concordat had strong defenses there, but the coalition forces used tactics the Concordat had never seen, combining human creativity with alien technology. After 2 days of fighting, the Concordat forces retreated. The liberation of Procyon sent shockwaves through the galaxy. More species joined the coalition. The Concordat, once thought unbeatable, seemed suddenly vulnerable. Earth scientists shared modified shield technology with their allies. Dr. Lily Winters traveled to coalition worlds, teaching them how to adapt Earth's discoveries to their own ships. We all have different strengths, she told a group of alien engineers. Humans are good at finding new ways to use technology. Your species might be better at building it. Together, we're stronger than the Concordat. But the Vexari, the founding species of the Concordat, would not accept defeat. In secret, they prepared a terrible weapon, a planet killer that could destroy Earth completely. Captain Andy Mitchell discovered their plan through a captured Concordat officer. They're building it in the Vexari home system, he reported urgently to Admiral Susan Miller. It will be ready in 2 weeks. Susan called an emergency meeting of coalition leaders. We have to destroy this weapon before they can use it. This is not just about Earth. If they succeed, they'll use it on any world that defies them. Andy volunteered to lead the mission. His ship, the Swift Justice, was the fastest in Earth's fleet. 10 other ships from various coalition species joined him. This is a one-way trip, Susan warned him. The Vexari home system is heavily defended. Andy nodded solemnly. If we don't stop this weapon, there won't be an Earth to come home to anyway. The mission was authorized. As Andy's small fleet prepared to depart, aliens and humans worked side by side, loading weapons and checking systems. Look at this, Lisa Morgan said to Susan as they watched the preparations. 2 years ago, we'd never even met aliens. Now we're fighting alongside them for our freedom. Susan nodded. The Concordat wanted to make us slaves. Instead, they united the galaxy against them. Andy's fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading for the heart of Vexari territory. The future of Earth and the Coalition rested on their success. 5 years had passed since aliens first came to Earth. The galaxy had changed forever. The once mighty Concordat had lost half its territory to the Coalition of Free Worlds. Now, they were asking for peace. Admiral Susan Miller, now Supreme Commander of Coalition Forces, led the peace delegation. Their meeting place was a neutral space station orbiting Arcturus, a star far from both Earth and Vexari space. Susan remembered Captain Andy Mitchell often during these talks. His mission to destroy the Vexeri planet killer had succeeded, but at a terrible cost. When his team realized they couldn't escape after planting explosives on the weapon, Andy had stayed behind, sending his crew away. He had detonated the bombs manually, destroying the weapon and himself with it. News of the attempted genocide had turned many more worlds against the Concordat. Even some Vexeri colonies had rebelled against their own government, horrified by what their leaders had planned. Now, the Vexeri representative sat across from Susan at the peace table. He looked older and tired, no longer proud and demanding as Skorlath had been years ago. The Concordat offers these terms, he said, pushing a data pad across the table. We will recognize all coalition worlds as independent. We ask only that our remaining territories be left in peace. Susan read the document carefully. Unlike the treaty offered to Earth so long ago, this one had no hidden traps or secret clauses. The coalition accepts these terms, she said after consulting with the other representatives. The Treaty of Arcturus will mark a new beginning for all our peoples. As they signed the agreement, Susan thought about how far humanity had come. From a single planet threatened by aliens to key members of a galactic alliance, Earth ships now traveled to hundreds of star systems. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, sharing knowledge freely. Director Alan Foster oversaw the establishment of joint human-alien colonies on previously contested worlds. These worlds belong to no single species, he explained at the opening of New Harmony, the first such colony. They belong to all who wish to live together in peace. Dr. Lily Winters led a multi-species scientific initiative. For too long, the Concordat kept knowledge for themselves. She said to her diverse team, "Now we share with all." On Earth, the United Nations building added a new wing, the Galactic Embassy, where representatives from 50 alien species now had offices. Children grew up learning about alien cultures and languages alongside human ones. 5 years after the peace treaty, the alien delegation that had first visited Earth returned. Skorlath, older but still recognizable, requested a meeting with Susan, now retired from military service. "I have come to apologize," he said, his once arrogant voice now humble. "We thought your species primitive because you had not yet traveled between stars. We were wrong. You taught the galaxy that true civilization is not measured by technology, but by how you treat others." Susan accepted his apology with grace. "We all have things to learn from each other. That's the future we're building now." Later that day, Susan visited the memorial to those lost in the war. Andy Mitchell's name was there, along with thousands of others, humans and aliens who had died fighting for freedom. A group of children, human and alien, were visiting the memorial on a school trip. Their teacher explained, "These heroes died so we could live in a galaxy where no species rules over others." One human child asked Susan, "Did you know they would attack us when you said no to their treaty?" Susan smiled gently. "We didn't know what would happen. We just knew some things are worth fighting for. Freedom, dignity, the right to choose our own path. Sometimes you have to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard." As she looked up at the stars, now full of possibility rather than threat, Susan thought about that first meeting 5 years ago. The aliens had offered peace on their terms. Humans had rejected it, and in doing so, they had brought true peace to the galaxy.